tired.
He did?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
He probably hearing his name. I'm gonna get that Tyson.
So you gave it to him?
That's a real sucker punch right there. I wasn't ready for that one.
He's also nuts, right? Just the fact that he's willing to fight the two-time heavyweight champion, former Olympic gold medalist.
Yeah.
A guy who's gigantic in his prime, built like a Greek god.
Yeah.
And you're going to stand, and he's a one-punch killer. And you're going to stand in front of that guy, and he avoided shots till the 6th round. He just started getting tired.
Yeah, his movement in that fight was crazy.
It was very good.
Yeah.
It was very good.
He was really keeping him moving around the whole ring, and then
you can't afford to get tired. That's the thing is, like, he gets tired in a lot of his fights in the later rounds. You should really sort that out. Because if he had a much bigger gas tank, like if he was training with like some of these elite world-class strength and conditioning coaches and just worked on his cardio, he'd be beating way more guys.
You think so?
Yeah. 100%.
Mike Tyson says he got revenge by Joshua, and when Iron Mike talks like that, you know it's coming from a deep personal place, not just post-fight noise.
It's working. You're gonna do this. You're gonna be a ferocious animal. You're gonna fight, punch both hands to the body. You'll use your jab. You're gonna do this in ferocious fashion.
I don't know if enough has been made of the fact that, I mean, it was absolutely devastating, but the fact that he had awareness immediately to go like he looked at the crowd like, oh shit. Like, wow.
He goes,
it wasn't like
cracked. I think he went into that fight knowing that was probably going to happen.
Yeah.
And ultimately, the big win for him would be that he was even willing to do it and that he could do well for a little bit. Yeah. And then eventually just deal with the fact that Anthony Joshua is going to connect with a bomb and breaks his jaw in 2 places.
Yeah.
Tyson basically looked at Anthony Joshua starching Jake Paul and went, yeah, that one was for me. No long explanation, no drawn out story, just that quiet heavyweight energy that says, I saw it, I felt it, and I approve.
All right, so we're here at the after party. I have to be honest, the vibes are way more chill than I thought. He's doing great. How are you feeling?
Never been better.
Yeah, he's absolutely crushing it.
Bring out the vodka.
Yeah, we're doing great in here. Lights, a double break in his lower jaw.
Oh, you can show.
Here, look.
Science.
So science is right there and there. The way I see it, well, you'll be back in a couple weeks getting ready to fight Canelo.
Canelo in 2 weeks.
Yeah. So Canelo, get ready. We're coming for you in 2 weeks. So.
And honestly, when you think about it, it makes sense. Tyson watched Jake build an entire boxing arc off spectacle, bravado, and daring legends to show up. And then here comes Joshua, calm, patient, professional, and delivers the kind of ending Mike understands better than anyone.
How do you think the Jake Paul Anthony Joshua fight plays out?
I don't know. I want to make sure. I believe it once I see him in the ring.
If Paul starts his boxing career earlier, could Jake Paul have been a champion?
There's a possibility.
Somehow they gave me the VIP suite as well. That's why I was right on the ring.
Hey, so what are you going to do? You fought every single round.
It just pissed him off, and then he broke Jake's jaw.
I told everyone, though, that I would do better than Francis and that Francis kind of got no chin. Francis low-key soft.
All the haters, last night their storyline was that you were moving around a lot.
Unless I die, people will still hate me.
This wasn't trash talk revenge, it was symbolic revenge. Joshua didn't rush, didn't chase the hype, didn't play the circus role. He just waited until the moment arrived and shut the lights off clean. Tyson saying that felt like the old guard, nodding in approval, like boxing itself saying, yeah, we handled that.
All the haters, last night their storyline was that you were moving around a lot. Just
boxing?
I know, I just don't get it.
I'm a little disappointed, but I also know how good he is.
Man.
But I had him wobbled at one point.
You landed that right hand.
I wish I had more than 3 weeks to prepare. Unless I die, people will still hate me.
And my takeaway from this whole fight is pretty simple. This was boxing reminding everyone that there are levels you can't skip, no matter how loud the buildup gets. We can respect Jake for the courage, the ambition, even the willingness to step into danger, but respect doesn't rewrite physics or experience.
All right, 6th round knockout for Anthony Joshua against Jake Paul. So what do we take away from this fight? It was sloppy from start to finish, but at least Jake Paul can say, I went 6 rounds with the former heavyweight champion. I went further than Francis Ngannou did. This was way worse for Anthony Joshua. He should have walked down Jake Paul from the opening bell. Instead, he gave him way more respect than Paul has earned as a heavyweight boxer. Couldn't land any of his power shots early, didn't go to the body body at all, you could not have watched this fight and thought that AJ is back to being a contender in the heavyweight division. And you could not have watched this fight and gotten excited about the potential competitiveness of an AJ Tyson Fury.
Anthony Joshua didn't need to be spectacular. He just needed to be himself. Disciplined, patient, and dangerous when it mattered. That's the difference between chasing moments and owning the ring. For me, this wasn't about revenge or embarrassment, it was about clarity. The hype finally met a ceiling, the sport reasserted its rules, and everyone watching got the same reminder. In heavyweight boxing, reality always shows up, and when it does, it doesn't care about narratives, followers, or contracts.
I broke Jake's jaw.
His teeth look a bit removed as well.
Yeah, his teeth have come out of place. But credit to him, he done well, but I told him what was going to happen, but it just took 6 rounds to do that.
People will criticize you for going 6 rounds with Jake Paul. How do you feel about that?
I deserve it.
Why? Come on.
Because, like, we're elite fighters. Like, so I put myself in the shoes of a coach. If I was coaching Anthony Joshua and he went 6 rounds with Jake Paul, I would get him back in the gym tomorrow, give him a bit of a beating, and we're getting straight back to work, because I'll be like, how are you letting this kid take you 6 rounds? Are you crazy? In boxing, there's a time when you systematically break someone down and you see their soul leaving their body. And after a period of time, 2 things start to happen to them. Either they give up or they get knocked out.
And once you come down from the whole AJ Jake aftermath, here comes Derek Chisora sliding in like the friend who finally says what everyone's been thinking but was too polite to admit. I'm listening to Chisora and I'm cracking up because he's not even angry. He's impressed in the most disrespectful way possible. He's basically saying, look, we all stayed up, we all debated, we all argued hypotheticals, and meanwhile Jake Paul just ran the greatest marketing heist boxing has ever seen. When Chisora says we've been punked, he's not talking about one punch or one round. He's talking about the whole industry getting baited into believing something magical was about to happen at 3 a.m.
I mean, like, everybody keeps saying, oh, he got caught with the right hand, he got caught by a jab. I mean, like, it's like opening a shower and say, I'm gonna get in the shower but not get wet. Listen, it's boxing. The guy got hit, he knocked him out. But people wondering, why is Jake Paul hitting him? Yeah. He's a gold medalist and he's a 2-time heavyweight champion. It happens, you know, it's a boxing fight. So when I see people say, oh, he got hit by a right hand, oh, I think he's hurt by... Jake Paul didn't have the power to hurt him at all, nothing. He didn't even bruise him. You know, like this was like a sparring session. Literally. I think he's had more harder sparring sessions.
Way more harder sparring sessions.
Yeah, you know, this was a sparring session.
And the shower analogy is perfect. You don't step into a boxing ring with Anthony Joshua and expect to stay dry. That's not bravery, that's delusion with good lighting. Chisora calling it a sparring session is wild but honest, because AJ didn't look threatened, didn't look rushed, didn't even look stressed. He just looked like a heavyweight waiting for the timer to run out. And the funniest part is Chisora admitting we're still here talking about it again, because that's the real punchline. Jake didn't just fight Joshua, he fought the internet and won on points. We can laugh, we can roast, we can argue power and technique, but if you had us glued to a screen debating a guy with no amateur background against a former unified champion, then yeah, maybe we all got played a little.
Do you understand? He's fooled us, he punked us. But we sat there.
He's marketing genius.
At 3 o'clock in the morning, yeah? Think he's gonna do something which is never been done. He's gonna go to the moon and walk around the moon and
some people believed it. Some people believed it.
You believed it.
I didn't believe it.
Yes, you did.
What did I believe?
You believed it.
David Hay believed
it.
Allegedly, David Hay believed it.
Allegedly.
You say a miracle is shown his own.
I've always said obliviation. And he broke his jaw in 2 places. He hit him in one place and it broke in another place.
I can't believe it, man. I'm back here again in this studio.
You love
this studio.
Yeah. Talking about it. I get it, man. But you know what? It's just one of those things like, Jesus Christ.
And right after Chisora finishes basically admitting we all got finesse-checked by the marketing department, the mood flips from sarcastic laughter to full-blown rage when Sergio Mora grabs the mic. You can feel it instantly. This isn't playful roasting anymore. This is a former fighter who feels personally offended that his sport just got dragged through a Netflix algorithm. I'm watching this like, yep, Mora came in hot, oven mitts off. He's not debating hypotheticals. He's saying the quiet part loud. This wasn't boxing, it was tag. cardio and survival mode with a very expensive price tag. The funniest part is how quickly the money talk turns into an argument, because nothing triggers boxing people faster than purse numbers. Mora doesn't care if it was 30 million or 50 million. His point is simple. You don't train your whole life to watch a guy sprint laps and call it courage. And when he says AJ played with his food, that line sticks because it explains why this whole thing felt uncomfortable.
Is because Jake Paul had the resources. He can have a head start in this career like you did in life, and you can make it out. But the thing is, when a fighter really wants to hurt another non-fighter, he can do it, and he can do it a lot easier and a lot faster. Anthony Joshua played with his food, and I'm going to tell you right now, he played with his food. I don't think he should have went to the 6th round, maybe the 4th at latest, because Jake Paul was running. He wasn't boxing. He was running, and every time he had a chance to try to tackle Anthony Joshua in fear, he was on his knees. It looked like he was praying. Jake Paul spent more times on his knees than you did in college praying for a girlfriend. It was embarrassing, Chris Mannix. It was embarrassing.
Then you've got Chris Mannix pushing back just enough to keep the studio from turning into a group therapy session. And honestly, that tension is what makes this segment gold. I'm sitting there nodding and shaking my head at the same time because Mora is furious at Jake for running, but also side-eyeing AJ for letting it go that long. And that's the real debate nobody wants to settle. Mannix keeps trying to zoom out, talking eyeballs and platforms, and Mora is like, cool story, but what did we actually watch? You can't sell toughness and spectacle at the same time without confusing everyone. Jake didn't come to win, AJ didn't come to dominate early, and we're left arguing about moral victories instead of punches. That's why this reaction hits harder than the fight itself, because beneath all the yelling, Mora is basically screaming, "Stop calling this growth."
It was embarrassing, and all the people that tuned in to Netflix and everyone else, just like the Mike Tyson fiasco that happened a couple years ago, we feel disgusted for having to watch that.
I'm not going to defend the fight. It was a bad fight. It was actually worse.
You're not going to put him on. You're not going to put him on the cover of Sports Illustrated again?
No, because we put him on the cover of Sports Illustrated for very different reasons than boxing. It was a power issue, as you know. But I'm not going to defend the fight. It was a bad fight, and it was actually a worse fight than I expected it was going to be because of the way that Jake Paul fought. Now, it would have been stupid of him to go out there like Francis Ngannou and just try to go blow for blow with Anthony Joshua, but I expected maybe him to try to test the chin of AJ earlier and this fight to end with some kind of destructive 2nd round, 3rd round at the latest Anthony Joshua knockout.
And just when you think the Sergio Mora rant was the loudest alarm bell we were going to hear, the camera cuts and the vibe quietly shifts into something way more uncomfortable, because now we're not yelling about embarrassment or purse numbers, we're talking about consequences. This is where Wade Plemmons steps in and suddenly the jokes get a little nervous. I'm watching this thinking, hold on, this isn't debate show energy anymore. This is post-fight reality setting in. You've got Logan Paul sitting there looking at his brother like, yeah, you did the crazy thing, but at what cost? And when jaw surgery, metal plates, and screws become part of the conversation, that's when boxing stops being theoretical. We can argue about rounds and movement all day, but when your face needs hardware, the sport has officially cashed its receipt. The wild part is how calm Jake sounds, like he just upgraded his phone instead of rebuilding his jaw. That calmness is either elite mental toughness or your brain protecting you from processing what just happened.
Yeah, I was doing good. I just think my cardio, just the mental pressure of the big guy and sparring the big people is different than the 10-ounce gloves. So I was feeling his power a lot more. But it was a great experience. Like, I learned a lot in there. I can't really fucking talk.
Are you in pain?
Yeah, but it's not from like talking.
So Jake says, you know, he mostly was doing good until his cardio caught up with him. I think to him, he did do what he wanted, which was, in his mind, a good approach to the fight. But in reality, he didn't do a lot in the fight. He landed some big punches. I've watched the fight back at this point, and what was impressive was his ability to move around, for sure. Like, it was cool to see him move around, but he didn't do much to AJ in terms of the power that he brought, and that was when everything kind of fell apart.
And this is where I'll be honest with you, this fight feels like a turning point whether Jake admits it or not. I respect the ambition, I respect the willingness to step in there with Anthony Joshua, but at some point, bravery has to sit down and have a conversation with longevity. You can hear it in the way Logan presses him, not as a promoter, not as content, but as a brother thinking about life after the lights. We've all joked about levels, but this was levels with medical paperwork attached. And yeah, Jake can still sell, still draw, still create chaos whenever he wants, but boxing doesn't care about momentum, it only cares about damage. That's the part people skip. Watching this back, it doesn't feel like the end, but it definitely feels like the pause before a big decision. Either the fights get smaller, smarter, and more calculated, or the sport keeps collecting pieces. And trust me, boxing always collects eventually.
If you look at the CompuBox numbers, this was not a very high activity fight. You could say Jake won the first round and maybe the fourth, but again, this is just on paper. I think the reality probably states that Jake won the first and everything else was Joshua, because in all of these rounds, Jake was solely on the back foot. Jake was engaging only when engaged with, and, you know, for the most part, the numbers being even, AJ did dominate, and I mean absolutely dominate ring generalship. So I got to push back right away on Jake saying he won 2 rounds. That is not the case.
So when you zoom all the way out and stack everything together, this fight wasn't just about Jake Paul losing to Anthony Joshua, it was about boxing reasserting its boundaries. You had Mike Tyson calling it symbolic revenge, Chisora laughing at how we all got pulled into the hype, Mora furious that survival got mistaken for growth, and then Plemmons and Logan Paul dragging the conversation into the part nobody can meme away, the damage. Different voices, different tones, but the same underlying message. You can bend boxing for entertainment, but you can't escape its consequences. Jake proved he's willing to step into danger, AJ proved he still carries heavyweight authority, and the sport reminded everyone that ambition doesn't cancel experience. Now I want to hear from you. Did this fight expose Jake's ceiling? Remind us how dangerous heavyweight boxing really is, or say more about where the sport is headed than either fighter involved. Drop your thoughts in the comments, let's debate it properly. And yo, don't ever forget to like, share, and subscribe to Boxing Headquarters. See you in the next one.